The hype for Persona 3 Reload is real, and I can finally say that we've got 2 more weeks to go, baby! With just a short amount of time left until the game releases on February 2nd, 2024, it's safe to say that we already know a lot about the game and what separates itself from the older Persona 3 releases. I just recently dropped a detailed video going into absolutely everything that has been changed or added to the core Persona 3 experience that sets Persona 3 Reload apart from the original, along with the enhanced Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable. But thanks to a number of recent previews from the press, we now have perhaps an even better look at seeing all these various additions come together, giving us a good look at just how enhanced this core Persona 3 experience is going to be. Before we go any further, I'd just like to remind you all that we have less than 2 more weeks to go in my current giveaway I am doing for the premium edition of Persona 3 Reload. So if you are interested in getting the most complete digital edition out there with extra items, BGM, and costumes from other Persona games, definitely check out the link in the description for your chance to enter. It's free of charge, so why not test your luck? Also, don't sleep on the next massive chapter in the Final Fantasy VII Remake saga with my digital deluxe edition giveaway of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, also linked in the description. I'd also like you to let me know in the comments if you'd like to have me cover that game more in its own separate video as we approach that game's release date later next month on February 28th, launching exclusively for the PS5. Before we get into these new additions and embellishments as laid out by the recent previews, let's first address that Persona 3 Reload, for as much as it adds to the core Persona 3 experience, does not contain all the extra content seen from the various releases that came after the original Persona 3. Persona 3 Reload is advertised as a pretty faithful remake of the core Persona 3 narrative, or the Journey chapter of Persona 3 FES, and Atlus has made it very apparent that this remake of Persona 3 is just that, a remake of the core plotline of Persona 3, which means that this 80-hour game will not include the Answer chapter that served as Persona 3 FES's epilogue. On top of that, the non-canon female protagonist from Persona 3 Portable will also not be featured in Persona 3 Reload, which has, understandably, made some fans of Persona 3 upset, as some claim that this game cannot be marketed as the definitive Persona 3 experience without these rather large omissions. What we can all agree here is that Persona 3 Reload, while not including the extra chapter and female character, is absolutely shaping up to be the definitive way to experience the original Persona 3 experience, as first presented to us by the original Persona 3, and even Persona 3 FES's The Journey. In fact, if you enjoyed The Journey, which is the core Persona 3 narrative but with an additional social link and various other additions for FES, Persona 3 Reload features everything from that game's core narrative experience, but so much more. Again, watch the video I did previously where I broke down every component that was either changed or brand new to Persona 3 Reload, linked in the description. Persona 3 Reload really starts to shake things up when it comes to Tartarus and battling. From this footage of the earlier Persona 3 games, you can see that Tartarus here in Persona 3 Reload features much more varied layouts and aesthetic elements that sets it apart from the PS2 releases and PSP game. These previewers all commented that these changes are immediately apparent, as the corridors feel so much more open and expansive, and as the Noisy Pixel on YouTube called it, intimidating. Tartarus really is just leagues more satisfying to look at from this footage compared to the older Persona 3 games. And I'm sure exploring the twisted passages of this towering dungeon is going to be that much more enjoyable to play through as well. Another thing that will be immediately apparent to players who experienced the previous releases is the addition of the Twilight Fragment, a new currency, if you will. No, there are no microtransactions here, that can be spent in Tartarus to unlock certain treasure chests and can be used at the clock at the entrance to Tartarus to replenish the party's HP and SP. While Twilight fragments can be obtained while in Tartarus by breaking the newly introduced breakable objects throughout the floors and from defeating shadows, these Twilight fragments can also be found outside of Tartarus as you explore the many areas of Ealot. It will definitely be in your best interest to carefully search your environment and chat up the locals as you go about your business, as you never know when you'll find this valuable resource, whether on the ground at Paulownia Mall, inside a trash can, or given by an NPC. Speaking of NPCs and Paulownia Mall, the Noisy Pixel mentioned that over at the club at Paulownia Mall, there were 2 new NPCs that featured unique mechanics of their own that were not present in the original Persona 3 releases. These included a fortune teller and a dark web informant. The Noisy Pixel described the fortune teller as a person whose role most closely resembles that of Chihaya Mifune from Persona 5, in that the player can receive boons while in Tartarus. It is said that the dark web informant pertains to a new mechanic regarding the shared computer at the dorm. We covered this computer from the numerous Persona 3 Reload update videos I've done in the past, as it looks like this computer will give the player useful information regarding Tartarus and perhaps some secrets to uncover from within. While just a hunch, I'm thinking this NPC could potentially unlock more secret information for players to access from the computer in the dorm, thus potentially allowing the player to unearth more secrets from within Tartarus. During these segments where the player can explore the dorm, school, and various locations throughout Ealot outside of Tartarus, the previewers mentioned that the exploration felt better and more relaxed and presented a greater deal of freedom and leniency as to how the player chooses to spend their time. The player can now freely exit and enter the dorm without passing time, unlike the previous Persona 3 games, and players feel like they are able to accomplish more with their time if they aren't solely hanging out with their social link characters. In line with these social links, The Mirror expressed that the new Link episodes for Persona 3 Reload essentially served as social links in everything but name, and this is hugely important, seeing as though a considerable portion of the game's cast, most importantly the male Cease battle members, still don't have social links in Persona 3 Reload, something that the previous Persona 3 games also didn't have, unless you played as the female character from Persona 3 Portable. The Mirror said that these Link episodes feature a considerable amount of dialogue, shedding much more light on these characters, and just like social links, grant unique combat abilities and skills. So while these Link episodes are not exactly social links, they basically serve as them in everything but name. Just remember, these Link episodes are missable and are cycled out for other Link episodes as the player progresses through the story. It is for that reason that the developers included more character interactions and text prompts throughout the game's phone where players can receive invitations to hang out, so pay attention to those from the male party members and even Strega members to not only unlock more combat abilities, but to learn more from these iconic characters. When the game releases in less than 2 weeks, there are sure to be even more unexpected features and surprises waiting in store for us, but it is hard to deny just how much more upgraded this game appears to be over the previous Persona 3 releases. Sure, some big features may be missing, but if there was ever one version to be the definitive version of the core Persona 3 narrative, Persona 3 Reload is undoubtedly it. Now, I want to know from you all if you are interested in these new additions and features coming to Persona 3 Reload. What new features are you most interested in? Be sure to participate in my giveaway of the game, and also be sure to watch this video going over in detail every single new addition coming to the game, other than the ones outlined in this video. And be sure to stay tuned for more Persona content as we move forward. Thank you all for your continued support, and I will see you real soon in the next one.